genocide perpetrated by the Zionist entity in Gaza. For his part, the Secretary General of the National Liberation Party, Abdelkrim Ben Barek, welcomed the path of dialogue and consultations taken by the President of the Republic with the political class, describing the approach as noble. The Secretary General of the FLN affirmed that his party will endeavor by all means to contribute to the development of the country, to the preservation of its interests and to the defense of its positions, particularly with regard to support for just causes. As for the importance of Al-Mustaqbal Front, Fatah Boutbig indicated that a meeting of such importance with the parties denotes the high level of the President of the Republic's approach, stressing that the meeting was open and allowed us to review the nature of the current situation and the challenges facing Algeria. Fatah Boutbig indicated that he had personally perceived a total convergence of the views of the President of the Republic and the parties, particularly with regard to support for the Palestinian cause and all just causes throughout the world, being one of the principles of the glorious war of liberation. The President of the new Algerian Front, Jamal Ben Abdeslam, hailed the meeting of the President of the Republic with the political parties, indicating that this initiative is a very positive step, especially since President Tebboune listened to all the concerns and proposals, and his response was clear and frank, supported by evidence and figures. Ben Abdeslam affirmed that the President of the Republic and the parties agreed during the debates on the need to preserve the stability of the country and to continue to the development process in all sectors and in all regions of the country. Along the same lines, the first National Secretary of the Socialist Forces Front, FFS, Youssef Aouchiche, stated that his party welcomed the initiative of the President of the Republic in that it was among the first parties to have called for such meetings to express their concerns in an institutional framework, having raised several concerns, ideas and analysis on the situation of the national, international and regional levels, and proposed to revitalize the role of parties and review certain laws. The Secretary General of the National Democratic Rally, Mustafa Yahi, highlighted the importance of the meeting, having allowed a better perception of the political parties, affirming that Algeria needs a strong consensus to continue the process of edification and of development. For his part, the President of Al-Bina movement, Abdelkader Ben Grina, indicated that the agenda of the meeting was open in complete freedom, hailing the availability of the President of the Republic regarding the examining of all the concerns of the parties. For the President of Jil al-Jadid Party, Soufiane Jilali, he claimed to have provided a vision on this necessary participation of the parties in the revitalization of the political scene. The Secretary General of the Good Governance Front Party, Aissa Belhadi, indicated that the President of the Republic listened with great interest to the concerns of the parties and their opinions, adding that his party supports the colossal efforts made by the President of the Republic in support for just causes, notably the Palestinian cause. The President of the Movement of the Society for Peace, Abdelali Hassani, affirmed for his part that the meeting was an opportunity for political parties to discuss major political changes which require a national debate, noting that his party supports Algerians' positions in favor of just causes.
Interested by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Speaker of the People's National Assembly, Mr. Brahim Boughali, is attending the funeral of the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the late Mr. Ibrahim Raisi, in Tehran. On his arrival at Tehran International Airport, Mr. Boughali was welcomed by the Chairman of the National Security and Foreign Policy Committee of Iranian Parliament, Mr. Abdul Fazl Amway, and the Algerian Ambassador to Iran, Mr. Ali Arrouj. Crowds gathered in Tehran for the funeral of the Iranian President, Mr. Ibrahim Raisi, on Wednesday morning, where several events will be held before his burial in Mashhad in northeastern Iran. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who has declared 5 days of national mourning, led funeral prayers at Tehran University, attended by foreign dignitaries. Mourning ceremonies were held in Tabriz, northwestern Iran, and the holy city of Qom, after the death of the Iranian leader in a helicopter crash. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Mr. Ahmed Hattaf, has had a telephone conversation with the acting Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ali Bagheri Kani, assuring him of his willingness to continue working with him to promote bilateral cooperation in line with the aspirations and ambitions of the two brotherly countries and peoples. In this respect, the minister reiterated Algeria's condolences to the Islamic Republic of Iran as expressed by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, in the message of condolences he sent following the tragic accident that caused the death of President Ibrahim Raisi and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hussein Amir Abdurrahman. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, has had a telephone conversation with his Portuguese counterpart, Paulo Rangel, in which they discussed the forthcoming bilateral deadlines relating to the implementation of the conclusions of the state visit made by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, to Portugal last year, which gave impetus to the bilateral relations. The two ministers exchanged views and analysis on the international and regional issues and of common interest, foremost among which was the situation in the occupied Palestinian territories against the backdrop of the continuing Zionist aggression against the Gaza Strip. Mr. Attaf expressed Algeria's consideration for the honourable position of the Republic of Portugal with regard to the Palestinian cause, welcoming its vote in favour of the General Assembly resolution on the admission of Palestine as a full member state of the United Nations. The Chief of the Staff of the National People's Army, ANP Army General Saïd Changriha, has paid a working visit of inspection to the 2nd Military Region. A communiqué issued by the National Defence Ministry indicated that the Army General met with the executive and personnel of the 2nd Military Region. Saïd Changriha said that the right in living in peace and security requires building a strong army force. The Minister of Energy and Mines, Mr. Mohamed Arkab, has been receiving in Brazzaville with the Congolese President Denis Sassou Nguesso as part of his working visit to the Republic of the Congo. Jamil Selmani has the details.
On the occasion, Mr. Arkab conveyed to the President of the Republic of the Congo greetings of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. For his part, the Congolese President instructed the Minister to convey to the President of the Republic his brotherly greetings and to convey to him all his esteem, expressing his country's determination to strengthen bilateral cooperation relations in all areas, notably hydrocarbons, electricity, renewable energies and mining. Mr. Sassou Nguesso stressed the solidity of relations of friendship, trust and solidarity with Algeria, with the African values of unity. During his visit, Mr. Arkab was also received by the Congolese Prime Minister Anatole Colline Makosso. According to the ministry, the meeting provided an opportunity to examine bilateral relations, particularly in the energy and mining sector, and especially hydrocarbons, one of the most promising areas of cooperation between Algeria and the Republic of the Congo, given Algeria's expertise in this field and the natural resources that both countries acquire.
Algeria and the Republic of Congo have signed a memorandum of understanding in the hydrocarbon sector aimed at boosting bilateral cooperation, notably through the establishment of investments by Sonatrach in Congo in the fields of oil, explorations and services. Said Bourazi has more details in this report.
The memorandum was signed in Brazzaville by the Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arkab, and the Congolese Minister of Hydrocarbons, Bruno Jean-Richard Itua, in the presence of the Congolese Minister of International Cooperation, the Algerian Ambassador to the Republic of Congo, the CEOs of Sonatrach and Sonelgaz, and executives from the two ministries. The memorandum focuses notably on investment opportunities for Sonatrach in the oil and gas exploration sector in the Republic of Congo, cooperation between Sonatrach and the Société Nationale des Pétroles du Congo, SNPC, notably in the downstream oil sector, and the possibility for Sonatrach and its subsidiaries to provide all services and equipment in Congo, reads the press release. The memorandum also covers the transfer of expertise and experience in the development of the gas sector, notably liquefied natural gas LNG, technical assistance in petrochemicals, the development, promotion and use of liquefied petroleum gas LPG, and the reduction of the carbon footprint in the hydrocarbons industry. The memorandum covers cooperation in drawing up the legal and regulatory framework for the hydrocarbon sector, as well as reforms the creation and organization of bodies to regulate and promote remote activities and the hydrocarbon sector, the creation of a national database, particularly in the field of hydrocarbon mining, and the drafting of standard contracts for oil exploration and exploitation. These also include areas related to technical control of health, safety, and the environment at oil installations, in addition to the challenges associated with hydrocarbon activities, including prevention, protection, monitoring, rehabilitation, and investigation of industrial accidents, training, and the development of human capital in all professions related to the hydrocarbon sector. On this occasion, a roadmap was also signed between the Sonatrach Group and the SNPC, outlining the procedures implemented between the two companies on the hydrocarbons value chain and training since the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the two parties. A Congolese delegation will visit Algeria shortly for a working visit to discuss cooperation opportunities in the field of hydrocarbon exploration management and the legal and regulatory framework governing these activities.
The Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arkab, has underlined in Brazzaville, Republic of Congo, Algeria's support for the efforts of the African Petroleum Producers Organization in terms of training and development of new techniques in petroleum sector. On a visit to the headquarters of the General Secretariat of the African Organization of Petroleum Producers as part of his working visit to the Republic of the Congo from the 20th to the 22nd of May, Mohamed Arkab highlighted Algeria's role in the reforms underway within the organization through its infrastructure and its technological and training development in the petroleum sector. Mohamed Arkab and the delegation accompanying him on this visit were welcomed by the representative of the Secretary General of the African Organization of Petroleum Producers. Ireland, Norway and Spain have announced their decision to recognize the State of Palestine as part of a wave of support and sympathy for the Palestinian people in the face of the genocide perpetrated by the Zionist entity in the besieged Gaza Strip, the only credible path to peace and security. Norway was the first European country to announce its decision to recognize the Palestinian state during a press conference in the capital of Oslo. Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store said the following.
The recognition of Palestine is in support of moderate forces that are on a retreating front in a protracted and cruel conflict. This is an investment in the only solution that can bring lasting peace in the Middle East. It's a strong call to other countries to do the same as we are doing today to recognize Palestine and thereby ensure that the process towards a two-state solution can start again and gain a new momentum.
Norway was followed by Ireland, whose Prime Minister Simon Harris announced early today his country's decision to recognize the Palestinian state, hailing a historic and important day for Ireland and Palestine.
Today, Ireland, Norway and Spain are announcing that we recognize the state of Palestine. Each of us will now undertake whatever national steps are necessary to give effect to that decision. In the lead up to today's announcement, I've spoken with a number of other leaders and counterparts, and I'm confident that further countries will join us in taking this important step in the coming weeks. This is an historic and important day for Ireland and for Palestine. Taking our place on the world stage and being recognised by others as having the right to be there was a matter of the highest importance for the founders of our state.
Norway and Ireland were followed by Spain, which also made public its decision to recognize the Palestinian state.
Haber consensuado la decisión entre los dos partidos que formamos.
After having reached a consensus between the two parties that make up the progressive coalition government and echoing the majority feeling of the Spanish people, next Tuesday, 28 May, Spain will approve in its Council of Ministers the recognition of the State of Palestine. And if one thing is clear to me, it's that Prime Minister Netanyahu has no peace project for Palestine. But Netanyahu is creating so much pain and so much destruction and so many rancors in Gaza and the rest of Palestine, and that the viability of the two-state resolution is a serious danger.
La solución de los dos estados está en peligro, en serio peligro de ser viable.
That was the Spanish Prime Minister, Mr. Pedro Sanchez. The Palestinian presidency has welcomed Norway, Spain's and Ireland's recognition of the states of Palestine. The move was also hailed by the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, as well as Turkish and Jordanian Foreign Affairs ministries. Jamil Silmani has the details.
The Palestinian presidency said in a statement that it hailed the announcement by the prime ministers of Norway and Ireland, respectively, to recognize the state of Palestine, and that the procedures for issuing recognition decrees will be completed on May 28. The presidency confirmed that the Norway and Ireland steadfastly supported the right of the Palestinian people over the past years and voted in favor of these rights in international forums, adding that this initial decision is a culmination of these positions and is consistent with the principles of international law that recognize the right of peoples to get rid of colonialism and oppression and to live in freedom, justice and independence. Additionally, the presidency welcomed the announcement by Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez for recognition of the State of Palestine, which will issue the recognition decree on May 28. The presidency urged the countries of the world, especially the European countries that have not yet recognized the State of Palestine, to recognize the State of Palestine in accordance with the internationally recognized two-state solution based on international legitimacy, resolutions, and the 1967 lines, and to follow the example of Norway, Ireland, and Spain, which chose the path of supporting the achievement of peace and stability and consolidating the rules of international legitimacy and international law. In another reaction, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation hailed the decision of Spain, Norway and Ireland to recognize the State of Palestine. The organization stressed that this important historic step is in line with international law and relevant United Nations legitimacy resolutions and contributes to the affirmation of the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people and enhances the status of the State of Palestine at the international scene. For its part, the Jordanian Foreign Affairs Ministry stressed that such decisions are on the path to peace, adding that other countries will also recognize the Palestinian state. Meanwhile, the Turkish Foreign Ministry said it was pleased by the announcement, stressing that the recognition of Palestine is a requirement of international law, justice and conscience, adding that it was an extremely important step for the recovery of the rights of the Palestinian people under occupation and for Palestine to achieve the status it deserves within the international community.
The United Kingdom's ambassador to the UN, Mr. James Kariuki, has urged the international community to send more aid, to provide more aid to the people of Gaza, pleading for the opening of all land routes that could allow the delivery of humanitarian aid. During a speech made at the UN Security Council meeting at the request of Algeria and Slovenia on the situation in the southern city of Rafah, Mr. Kariuki stressed that the situation in Gaza is desperate and the death toll of civilians continue to rise, adding that too many Palestinian civilians were killed and more aid is urgently needed for the people of Gaza to avoid famine. The ambassador called on the Israeli occupation to meet its commitment in increasing the aid and to guarantee the security of aid convoys and all the humanitarian work, condemning the appalling attacks on humanitarian workers by the occupying army and Zionist extremists. Dozens of Palestinians were killed and others were wounded today in further bombardments by the Zionist entity against various areas of the Gaza Strip under continuous aggression for the 229th consecutive day. Said Bourazi has more details in this report.
The Zionist occupying army's artillery fired several shells at houses in the Tel El Hawa neighborhood southwest of Gaza City, causing several injuries who were transferred to El Ahli Al Arabi Al Ma'madani Hospital. In addition, the bodies of 6 martyrs and 6 wounded were found after a missile strike by a Zionist military aircraft targeted a house in the region of El Fallujah in Jabalia in the north of Gaza, the same source added. In the center of the Gaza Strip, 10 Palestinians were martyred and several others were injured following a bombardment by the Zionist entity near a building sheltering displaced persons in the town of Zawaida. Wafa also reported, noting that the Palestinian victims were transferred to the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in the nearby town of Deir el-Balah. To the southeast of the city of Gaza, the Zionist entity's fighter planes launched an attack on the neighborhood of Az-Zaytun, causing at least 2 martyrs and several injured. The artillery of the occupying army also fired shells at the southern and northern parts of the city of Gaza, as well as on the eastern area of the Nusayrat camp in the center of the Gaza Strip. In the south of the Palestinian enclave, several people were injured when Zionist military aircraft bombed a house in Del Sultan, west of the town of Rafah. Zionist artillery bombardments resumed in the center and east of the city of Rafah, and military drones opened fire on various areas of the Del Sultan neighborhood to the west of Rafah, whose city center was also targeted by airstrikes.
Several Zionist settlers today stormed the esplanade of Al-Aqsa Mosque in the occupied city of Al-Quds under the protection of the Zionist police. A large number of settlers broke into the mosque in the first hours of the morning as the occupation forces reinforced security at the Al-Aqsa gates by preventing the Palestinians from praying and the students from accessing the schools located within its courtyards. 8 Palestinians have been killed in a Zionist military raid in Jenin in the occupied West Bank. There is an 8 martyrs in the current operation by the occupation forces in Jenin, Wafa quoted a short message from the Palestinian Health Ministry. Early on Tuesday, the ministry had already reported 7 dead and several injured, 2 of whom were in critical condition in this Zionist aggression in Jenin. On Tuesday night, the Palestinian Red Crescent reported that one of its ambulances had been the target of Zionist fire in Jenin while trying to help an injured person. According to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, a surgeon working at the Jenin Government Hospital was among the martyrs. Usaid Jabarin was killed by Zionist soldiers as he was on his way to the hospital. The Wafa agency reported that a teacher, Elam Jaradet, and a minor were also among the 7 martyrs. And now the Sahrawi President Ibrahim Ghali has affirmed during a meeting with a delegation participating in the Diplomatic Forum of Solidarity with the Sahrawi people the importance of the forum in defining and sensitizing the full support for the Sahrawi just cause and the international level. Ibrahim Ghali welcomed the participating members, ambassadors and representatives of friendly countries. The forum aims to put in place strategies for the promotion of diplomatic action in favor of the recognition and respect of the right of the Sahrawi people to independence. The diplomatic forum reaffirmed the unwavering support for the struggle of the Sahrawi people to exercise their right to self-determination and independence, calling to end the obstacles set by the Moroccan occupation to hinder the resolution of the conflict. Nearly 150 explosive devices destroyed and around 12,000 kilometers of roads declared safe in the occupied territories of Western Sahara for the year 2023, announced the United Nations Mine Action Services. Through this year 2023, UNMAS, which is part of the United Nations for the referendum in Western Sahara, MINURSO, said it had destroyed 148 explosive devices and identified 13 dangerous areas, making up to 443,000 meters cube of land, as well as 12,000 kilometers of roads declared safe, in order to facilitate the movement of MINURSO military observers and other MINURSO personnel and equipment. The report also states that 32 technical surveys were carried out west of the Wall of Shame to assist MINURSO military observers in carrying out their duties of monitoring and reporting a ceasefire violations. In its report, however, the Mine Action Services noted the presence of landmines in the immediate areas of the wall, stressing the need to support the national mine action capacity to deal with the threat of explosive ordnance. The chairman of the Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Commission of the Council of the Nation, Mohamed Amroun, has stressed the importance of parliamentary diplomacy in complementing official diplomacy in order to achieve the national interest of defend just cause. At the conference held on Tuesday at the Forum of the daily newspaper Shab on the theme of parliamentary diplomacy and support for the liberation of peoples, Mohamed Amroun said that today's parliamentarians, thanks to numerous mechanisms, are obliged to defend the cause of liberation and to make Algeria's position known in this respect, particularly when it comes to clarifying and defending numerous positions, especially with regard to Algeria's absolute support for the Palestinian and Sahrawi issues. Mohamed Amroun declared that Algeria is a multilateral player and an impartial mediator in conflict resolution and a fervent defender of just causes. It is in this sense, he added, that the Algerian parliament is committed to participating regularly and actively in all the regional and international parliamentary meetings to which we belong. That's it for our news bulletin. Now a reminder of today's headlines. Ireland and Norway and Spain have announced their decision to recognize the state of Palestine as part of a wave of support and sympathy for the Palestinian people in the face of the genocide perpetrated by the Zionist entity in the besieged Gaza Strip. The political parties represented in the local and national elected assemblies have welcomed the dialogue which prevailed during their meeting with the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, affirming their full support to the state's stance in favor of just causes in the world. The Speaker of the People's National Assembly, Mr. Brahim Boughali, is representing the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, at the funeral of the President of the Republic of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the late Mr. Ibrahim Raisi, in Tehran. Stay tuned on Radio Algeria International.
مع إذاعة